Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is, I'm going to show you 13 judgments that could, I didn't say will, could start in 2024. And I think this is really, really important today. This has been on my heart for about 5 days to bring this to you, but it's complicated, so I don't have a whole lot of slides today. We're going to have to talk. We're going to have to think through this today. And I'm also reminded by my staff, I should ask you to click subscribe, click the bell, and share with your friends. Reminding you also we have a Bible study Friday night, 6:30, and you can watch it Prophecy Club Facebook and YouTube. And it's not just on Bible prophecy, we actually read the Bible. Also want to ask you to join Prophecy Club at an automatic gift every month of $9.90 or more. And according to Jason Meek's prophecy that he had a dream where God showed him that this is going to be important to see that the Prophecy Club gets through the trouble that is about to hit us, which I'm about to talk about today. Because think about it, when the trouble hits, that's the time you want to hear from Prophecy Club far more than any other time. You want to see it continue. Join at $9.90 a month or more. We want to get everybody to join so that a whole lot of people giving a little bit is a whole lot better than counting on a few to give a whole bunch. Now, of course, it'd be nice if you can give more than $9.90 a month. As a matter of fact, right now we could really use it. All right, anyway. So first thing, let me pose a couple of questions. Again, we're going to talk and we're going to think today. So what if the good guy, meaning Trump, actually does get arrested from one of those four indictments? Maybe it's not 23, maybe it happens in 24, but sometime before the election. And what if those that back him say, yeah, we've had enough, we're not going to put up with it anymore, and they pick up shooting irons, and all of a sudden we're in an internal revolution? That could very possibly start before next year's election. I think it's November 5th. Then what would happen? Well, while Trump's in, maybe good. But when Trump gets out after that, it could be that a lot of Christians could start getting targeted by the Antichrist, persecution, roundup, and termination. Now, I remind you, I'm giving this as a big fat disclaimer. I'm not setting dates today. God has not spoken to me. I haven't had an audible voice nor a dream or vision saying this is going to happen. I'm simply doing this because I want to give you time to prepare. Now, this has been coming to me for the last couple of weeks. You remember Dimitri Duduman had the angel Gabriel come to him in 1984 and say, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America started by the communists. Now, first point I want to make is, why does it say started by the communists? How can the communists start the internal revolution? Could it be that that is because Trump goes in for one of these trials, they find him guilty, they put handcuffs on him, and they put him in jail, behind bars, and all of a sudden the military says, no. Okay? What I'm trying to say is, that's a possibility. That's a very real possibility. That could be, and that would fulfill internal revolution started by the communists, because they know he's about to win. They know he won the last time. They know, okay? No surprise. And you have to remember, the devil is willing to do anything. He will absolutely stop at nothing to get the Antichrist sitting on the throne and every knee bending the knee to him, because in the middle of the tribulation, he inhabits the body of the Antichrist. All right, now let's go on to the next point. So if we back up, so here we go. Dimitri Duduman was told this in 1984. What does that mean? All right, so let's take 1984. Let's add 40 years. What year does that come up to? 2024. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, Noah, you remember, it rained 40 days and 40 nights, so 40 is the number of judgment. Well, you sure of that? Well, let me show you some more. Israel ate manna for 40 years, and that was their judgment Then God took them into the promised land. But the point is, judgment for Israel eating manna was 40 years. Judgment for the world was it rained 40 days and 40 nights. Moses was on top of the mountain 40 days. And when Jesus fasted, he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. When he was done, the devil tempted him. How long did the test last? 40 days. Okay, so 40 is the number of judgment. So could it be that when God spoke this to Dimitri in 1984, he spoke it because 40 years later, it's going to come to pass? And that's a very big, now I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it is coming to pass. I don't know. Again, God has not told me. Please do not say, Stan said that judgment is going to hit in 2024. I did not say that. I suspected. I'm a watchman. I'm watching for it. But I did not say judgment starts in 2024. I suspect. I'm going to be watching, just like you're going to be watching. And I'm going to show you some good reasons today why it very well could. All right, let's go on. You recall Shane Warren had his vision back in 2012. It's already been confirmed. It's happening, okay? And could it be that this hurricane that just hit California, see, he said he saw a hurricane hitting all across America. Well, this last hurricane that just hit California did, in fact, cover all of America. Now, not real bad, but he didn't say how bad it'd be. He just said he saw a hurricane hit all across America, north, south, east, west border. And according to weather reports, this hurricane did. Okay, so if that was the confirmation or the fulfillment of it, now let's move on. Then he saw after that dollars would begin to drop in value, finally becoming worthless as leaves blowing in the wind. So, could that happen in 2024? On to the next question. He also saw the thing that starts killing the dollar is when they start selling oil in another currency other than the dollar. Because since 1970, the only way you could buy Saudi oil was in U.S. dollars. That strengthened the dollar. So conversely, when they stop requiring nations to buy oil in dollars, it's going to kill the dollar. At first, it'll weaken it. Then he saw people protesting. He says, it was civil war over holding up a sign saying, we want our entitlements. What are the entitlements? Things like Social Security, welfare, food stamps, things like that. Those are the people that count on the government to give them money. You take that away, and yeah, I can see where, matter of fact, even Dimitri said he thought the internal revolution would start, quote, something like they take away welfare. Then, along in that protest, as the Civil War is going on, he saw a New Madrid earthquake up the center of the country. Now let's tie that together with some recent events. Okay, so 2 countries have now started selling oil in something other than the dollar. That part's confirmed. So that confirms the dream. He was right on. He's hearing from God. Then the next thing is, gold-backed bricks are now going into effect January 1, 2024. Means that the fall of the dollar starts January 2024, literally. Now it's been, this actually started August 24th of 2022. But when they start having this BRICS currency going around the dollar, January 1, 2024, you can expect the dollar to start falling quickly. You remember, Coverstone saw it fall, also Maurice Sklar saw it fall 30%. Just boom. And Jason Meek saw it fall. When it fell, it wasn't like a slow slide. No, he said it was instant, overnight. David Phillips saw that Friday night it was fine, Monday morning it wasn't fine. So when the dollar falls, it's boom, 30% down, 50% down to 66, and then finally worthless as leaves blowing in the wind. Could it be that this takes place in 2024? That's my question. I'm not saying it is, but I'm a watchman, you're a watchman, and we're watching for it. Now, there's more. All right, let's go on to the next one. Now let's go to Chris Reed. So you remember this story. Chris Reed has an angel come to him. The angel has a $50 bill, which he believed represented the 50 states of the United States. He took that $50 bill and he tore off 1/3 of it. Then people started handing him newspaper headlines. Let's look at the headlines. And my question is, see out here, could this be the year this takes place? And I'm saying it could. Do I know for sure? No, I don't. But as I'm seeing it line up, very possible. Okay, so first headline was U.S. dollar drops 30% in value, just like Maurice Sklar told us. And he said that back 15, 20 years ago. Middle Eastern oil strikes deal with China instead of the U.S. Well, that's already happened. So part of this has already taken place. Then next headline, perfect storm, inflation reaches new high. We have 14 different prophecies say that food is going to be in shortage. It's going to be a food shortage, okay? Then riots and civil unrest as citizens demand entitlement checks. An earthquake happened under his feet. Now look at this. See, demand entitlement checks right there. Well, that's the same thing that Shane Warren saw. Okay, so now we have two people specifically seeing entitlements have been cut off. Again, I'm going to guess that Chris does not know Shane Warren, and I don't think Shane Warren got together with Chris and said, hey, let's cook up a big lie. In other words, it's two people that God spoke the same thing. So I don't care who you are, whether you want to believe God speaks these days or not. When you got two people using the same words that don't know each other, years apart. Shane Warren said this was shown this in 2011, I believe it was, to be exact. And then Chris Reed comes along and sees this in 2022. Okay, so we're 11 years apart. I'm pretty sure these people did not get together and cook up a big lie. Now let's go on. Food shortage crisis. Again, we have 14 people that have been told audible visions or audible words, dreams, visions, angel visits, that there's a food crisis coming. And for that, you better go to josephkitchen.com. Okay, now, food shortage as wheat, and Joseph Kitchen has lots of wheat. As wheat and bread imports are at a stalemate, meaning it ain't coming no more. Okay? We see that happening because Russia has already said we're not going to reinstitute this grain deal to let grain come out of Ukraine. Well, Ukraine was the primary grain producer for most of the world. I mean, outside of America. Okay, so then the angel tears a $50 bill in half, meaning the dollar then drops not 30%, but down 50%, okay? Then he saw, the next headline was, Israeli-Palestinians two-state solution reached. Well, that fits with, here, this is what Leslie was told. Omer ushers in Palestinian state. That's the same thing. So we have here, once again, two people saying the same thing. Okay, so when America, sad to say, it's going to happen. Matter of fact, the scripture says it's going to happen. They parted my land. I think it's Joel 2. Anyway, so when they cause when America causes Israel to split, then God splits America. I've got like 13 different people that have heard audible voices, seen one guy saw a sword go into the middle of America, saw America split down the middle. So that could very well happen. All of this out here could very well happen in 2024. Do I know it's going to? No, I don't. Don't say I did. I'm only saying it's a very good possibility. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Okay, so riots and civil unrest as citizens demand entitlement checks. Same thing Shane Warren was shown. Then he felt an earthquake under his feet. So when we see the dollar fall, when we see as a result of that a lot of Americans getting angry and protesting, that's a sign that also America is going to split Israel, force the Palestinians to be given a state. When that happens, when we split Israel, God has said 13 different times he is going to split America. Could that happen in 2024? Well, wait a minute. We don't know when the earthquake's going to happen. We don't know when the protest's going to happen. But we do know, here, let's back up. Here's what we do know. Right there, click. Two countries have already sold oil in something other than a dollar. We already know that January 1, 2024, BRICS starts with their gold-backed currency. We know that. And that's the very good reason why we can say, hey, okay, we don't know for sure here. We're not trying to set dates. But we have to say, no, wait a minute. See, July 27th, 2008, when I was on that 18-city speaking tour, casting the vision for prophetic oil, the vision, go find oil in Israel, that was the same night that I heard God speak audibly and say, Stan, I will give you the money to drill the well in Israel. Now, I have to give you a disclaimer, cannot guarantee we're ever going to get the money drilled for or hit oil in Israel. But when I heard him say that same night, I also heard him say, when those prophecies I gave your wife begin to come to pass, people from all directions are going to begin to turn and listen to your ministry. And these are the prophecies he was talking about. As a matter of fact, he showed me Leslie standing in front of our fireplace holding up newspapers with the headlines, and these were the headlines. I mean, I have actually seen these headlines on newspapers. I saw them. I saw her. And when next morning I woke up, I said, come here, I got a newspaper. I said, stand up right here. You were standing right here in front of the fireplace. Hold up this newspaper. Took a picture. Now, it wasn't the right headline, you see. But I saw her holding up these newspapers with these headlines. Now, let's tie it together. Okay, so what were the first two headlines? Actually, the first words she heard were, Israel refuses help to America. We don't know the order that they will be fulfilled in. This is my guess of the order that they'll be fulfilled in. I think it's a good guess, but I do not know exactly the order. Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Now, she got this in 2006. See right here, okay? Since 2006, Leslie and I have been praying and seeking. What is he talking about? Because we didn't see it written. Okay, she only heard it. Omer ushers in Palestinian state. Well, Stan, wait a minute. I thought you said you saw the headlines. Well, I did, but I mean, I can't remember how it was spelled. They were fairly quick, one right after another. Her standing there holding those newspapers. Anyway, what we believe that Omer ushers in Palestinian state is that's the 49 days of what the Jews call the counting of the Omer. Those days start with the Feast of First Fruits. And next year, I've got it written down here. Oh, man, I thought I had it written. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, so Passover is April 22. So 3 days later would be First Fruits. So that's what, like April 25, 2024. And this would go through about like May 17th, as I recall off the top of my head. I got to write that. I thought I had them written down. I'll write. Yeah. I know I wrote them down someplace, but they're not right in front of me. Anyway, the point is sometime in April, May of 2024, we could very well see Omer ushers in Palestinian state, a Jewish headline on some Jewish newspaper. Or maybe it's an American, I don't know what paper. Then, if it follows the events of the past, normally when America turns against Israel, I mean the very next day, God hits America. So probably, don't know for sure, but probably the very next day, catastrophe hits America, and that's here, let's back up. This ties together with what Chris Reed was told when he saw Israeli and Palestinian two-state solution reached. Means they split Jerusalem. They split Israel. Major earthquake hits the middle of the U.S. So that confirms this, when catastrophe hits America, what it's saying is here. It's major earthquake hits the middle of the U.S. That's what it's saying. No question anymore. We know that it's an earthquake. Now, let's go back. Let's keep going here. So then, America in pieces. When I first read that, I thought, because of the earthquake. No, that's not what it's talking about. America in pieces, more states secede from the nation in rebellion to the federal government. Look, and Greg Abbott, I live in Texas, so he's my governor. I think he's a good guy. He has been shipping all of these illegal immigrants, and that's what they are. They are not migrants. They are illegal immigrants into our nation. up to the other states. I tell you what, Texas is a state of laws, and we don't put up with that. There are a lot of Christians in America, in Texas. And my guess is that Texas is about to get fed up with this. And, we we kind of been thinking here for a long time, we need to pull out of the United States. So it makes perfect sense to me that about this same time next year, we get hit with an earthquake, and Texas just says, that's it. We don't have to be part of the United States anymore. And Texas and other states would follow, start pulling out of the United States. That could very well happen next year, right here, 2024. Very well happen. All right, then, now we see U.S. military takes charge. That's the internal revolution, in my opinion. Uncertainty looms over the federal government. What happened? Because sometime between now and the election next year, November 5th, as I recall, all of a sudden, one of these indictments actually finds Trump guilty. Now, he's not guilty, but it doesn't make any difference. When you've got a railroad in there for people in charge, they find Trump guilty, and they arrest him, and they put him in jail. And all of a sudden, military says, that's it. We are not putting up with this anymore. And just like there's 3 different people saw that there's an internal revolution, they literally roll up in front of the Supreme Court, the White House, and Congress. They go in and they arrest the evildoers, and there's massive arrests. I mean, we could see several million people killed as it's going to be basically another civil war. That's what Shane Warren said. It's a civil war, man. I mean, Americans killing Americans. As a result, now he saw a new dollar bill. He said it was like a cell phone. Remember, we had the little 9-year-old boy that saw that your cell phone, only you don't make phone calls with it. This is about the size of a cell phone, looks a lot like a cell phone, except for this not cell phone, but this electronic gadget, the size of a cell phone, is your driver's license, your passport. You buy everything, you sell everything with this little cell phone sized device. That fits here too. Remember, I put on a couple of months ago. A new dollar, like a cell phone with George Washington's face on it. Headline was, new currency for a renewed nation. Does that make sense that Trump could be arrested sometime between now and the election to keep him from winning? And when he gets arrested, all of a sudden that's started by the communists, the military says, we had enough. We have had enough. We are not putting up with this anymore. And as a result, there's so much turmoil in America. The shipping lanes are shut down. There's food shortages. There's water contaminations. So as a result, simplicity is restored as Americans begin to grow their own food. That, my brothers and sisters, that could very well happen in 2024. Do I know it is? No, I don't. But this is what God has been like, how do I say this? He's like been birthing this in my heart over the last week or two. You need to tell them this. You need to tell them what you're seeing. Okay, this is possibility. I don't know for certain. Now let me tie it together with another thing. So let's go back to 2002. Leslie heard the audible voice of God tell her that Arafat would go into the hospital and die there. Well, he did about 2 years later. I'm going to skip that part. She was also told that Israel will give the Palestinians a state. It will be a temporary measure to allow the Israelis time to strengthen the military. Oil will be discovered in Israel, and the oil will make the Jews willing to fight for the land. And I think the oil is also going to give the Jews the strength to build up their military so that they can be victorious in a coming war. And number 6 is Israel and America will go against most of the rest of the Arab world. So that ties together with this one. We could very well see, okay, so Omer ushers in Palestinian state could take place April, May next year. Catastrophe, April, May 2024. Could be. I'm not saying it is. Then as a result, America, one of the greatest times of need. So we cry for the world to help us. Help. You know, we've been there to help you, but the world doesn't help us specifically. Israel refuses help to America. Why? Because we just caused Israel to split. and give half of Jerusalem away. And that made a lot of Israelis angry. Then Israel is attacked. See, that fits together with here. Israel and America will go against most of the rest of the Arab world. It fits there. Israel has attacked America, sends troops. That's the right thing to do, but there's a lot of communists in America that don't like this. Chaos reigns as Americans protest help to Israel. Then she heard my voice, quoting Dimitri Duduman, the fall of America will start with an internal revolution in America, started by the communists. Now, could that happen in 2024? Let me back up. Let me show you. Here it is, right there. It was prophesied as coming in 1984. You add 40 years, and what do you get? You get 2024. Now, am I saying this is coming in 2024? No. Believe me, I'd love to have God send an angel to, and that's pretty much what it would take for me to know for certain it's coming. But I can look, okay? I can look right here. I can see 2 countries sold oil, not in dollars. I can look, gold-backed bricks comes into effect January 1, 2024. I can look. I saw those headlines where Leslie was holding these headlines right there. I saw those. I know that's true. As a matter of fact, I told you that's when the Lord spoke audibly and said, when the prophecies I gave your wife, these prophecies right there, you need to be writing those down if you don't have them written down. Which, by the way, they're in a book called God's Warning to America. You need to have that book. You want to go to prophecyclub.com. You want to get that book. You want to have that next to your nightstand, because as these things start coming to pass, you want to have Dimitri's testimony, all of his dreams and visions, and Michael Boldea and Prophet Leslie. You want to have these. The things I'm talking about, they're all in that book. When these, here's what he said, Audible Voice of God, when the prophecies I gave your wife come to pass. No, excuse me. He said, when the prophets I gave your wife start coming to pass, people from all directions will begin to turn and listen to your ministry. Right now, I beg you to send this out to people, but very few people do. It's not good news. People don't like it in America. They get mad at it. As a matter of fact, we have people call the office and say, some people want the judgment to come, some people don't want the judgment to come. So I got a couple of scriptures for you. I think the correct way is that we should pray that there would be a softening and a delay. Soften the things that we can't pray away and pray away the things that we can. Amos 5:18 says, woe to those that desire the day of the Lord. For what is the end of it for you? It's the day of the Lord, it's darkness and not light. In other words, he's saying you don't want this to come. Philippians 4:8 says, finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. He's saying, look, be positive. We don't want to see the fall of America. We should be praying it doesn't come. Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world. A city that's set on the hill cannot be hid. We're supposed to be shining the light of the gospel out there. And when the judgment hits, so will his miracles. There'll be a lot of people saved out of this. Verse 16 says, let your light shine before men that they may see your good works. We're supposed to be wanting the best to come. Blessed are the merciful. Live peaceably with all men. We shouldn't want this to come. We don't want it to come, because the Lord is merciful and gracious and slow to anger and plenteous of mercy. We should want to see the best come for our nation. Matter of fact, that's the reason I would recommend you go to prophecyclub.com, get the books there, but also sign up for Fast Track if you want to pray for Prophecy Club. Sign up for Fast Gap if you want to pray with other brothers and sisters, pray against these bad things coming to America. Like, for example, last couple of weeks we've been praying to stop panda eyes. We'll explain what that is. Also, adrenochrome. Pray that the truth comes out about the Maui fire. Things like that to pray for our nation. prophecyclub.com.
Today, we live in unsettling times. Have you ever wondered what you're going to do when food is no longer on the shelves? I'm Leslie, owner and founder of Joseph's Kitchen, and I want to show you how to make healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread for only a few $100s a year.
At Joseph's Kitchen, our ingredients have been packaged for immediate use or long-term storage. Go to josephskitchen.com or call the number on your screen to order today. Don't get caught unprepared. Go to josephskitchen.com now.
Terry Saka, Cornerstone, AssetMetals.com. The world seems to be falling apart financially. Why should they call Cornerstone AssetMetals.com today?
Well, the FDIC insurance fund is now empty. Not only is it empty, it's at zero. So now all bank bailouts are going to have to come from taxpayers. This could result in trillions of new currency notes being printed. The more they print, the more inflation we're going to have, potentially hyperinflation, and we need to protect ourselves away from that dollar.
Cornerstone AssetMetals.com. Go online or give them a call at 888-747-3309. Cornerstone AssetMetals.com. You don't have to get anything today. Just give them a call and say, hey, here's my situation. What do you suggest? Rule number 1, make sure your name is written in the book of life. Rule number 1, ask Jesus to forgive your sins. That's the most important thing. Number 2, most important thing, whatever happens, do not take that mark of the beast. You take that mark of the beast, you can cut your hand off, you can chisel off your forehead, but you're going to spend all eternity with the beast, the false prophet, and 1,000 years later, Lucifer joins them, and all the other people that take the mark of the beast, and there is no hope of escape. You're tormented. That means you're in total pain. It means that your body, although it's not a body of flesh, whatever it is, your body is totally being burned for all eternity, and there is no stopping it. There is no escaping it. Whatever happens, you do not want to take that mark of the beast, which, by the way, I would recommend you go to prophecyclub.com and get my book, Miss the Mark. As a matter of fact, it's sold so much, we are, I think, now going into the 5th printing. This book is simple. It only takes about 3 hours to read. It's designed to give to someone that's not a Christian, doesn't know Jesus, that hadn't read the Bible. Give it to anybody out there. If they'll read the first few pages, they'll probably finish the book. And if they finish the book, I don't care what God they used to have, they're not going to take that mark of the beast. And chances are very strong they'll receive Jesus. So for that, I would send you to prophecyclub.com. 1 for $20, and you'll have to check and get whatever the other prices are. I will say this, they just went up substantially on our printing price. And so guess what? No surprise, we had to go up on our prices too. But nevertheless, it's not about money. It's about winning souls.